How frustrating is the current US real estate market? It can be summarized in one sentence. Some people are cutting prices, but no one is buying. The real estate drama is just beginning. Among America's 200 core cities, 78 cities have housing inventory that already exceeds 2019 levels. Some California people are very excited, seeing that prices have indeed been dropping for a while, so they're planning to make their move in August or September. But others advise caution inventory will continue to rise and price cuts will only get more aggressive. Will housing prices in these regions fall even more dramatically in the second half of the year? In last month's analysis, we divided America's many markets into three major categories based on price fluctuations and inventory supply. First category, Northeast and Central regions, housing shortage with relatively stable prices. Second category, Southeast and South, these are the regions with the most obvious price declines in this round. Third category, West, some areas rising, some falling, generally flat. Just like California, we need to watch local new construction starts. If there are still starts, what does that prove? That inventory will continue to rise and prices will continue to correct. Let's look at construction and delivery volumes across America. This is statistics from NAHB for single-family home construction starts at the end of 2024. Many of these actually won't be delivered until 2025. Construction starts are still increasing in the Southeast and South, especially around Texas. Current inventory will continue to rise. Second place goes to the Western region. If you add up the entire West Coast Pacific region, new construction volume still can't match Texas alone. Third place goes to the Northeast and Central regions. So going forward, to observe local real estate inventory and local price changes, you need to watch new home construction to basically understand the future housing trends through at least the second half of 2025 in America's three real estate zones. American real estate has two cycles to observe. One is the major cycle, which follows the broader economic environment and financial market fluctuations. This might be a fluctuation lasting several years or even over a decade. You might not experience many cycle fluctuations in a lifetime. The other is the minor cycle, which is very close to us, the first half of each year. Note that the first half is usually the market's peak season with rising prices that are harder to compete for. The second half is usually the off-season with falling prices that are easier to compete for. Even during the 2008 real estate crisis, the first half fell less while the second half saw dramatic drops. Looking at the first half of 2025 compared to the increases in 2024, 2023, 2022, and 2021, you'll notice they're all lower. Who dragged down this year's first half price increases? Southeast and Southern real estate. We just saw that new home construction starts are obviously concentrated in the South and Southeast, the disaster zones of this surge. Here's the key point. Real estate supply includes new home supply and existing home returns to market. We haven't talked about existing homes in a while. You can see that the number of circulating properties, if relying only on new homes, definitely couldn't reach such a large recovery volume. This indicates homeowners are putting their properties back on the market. This brings two new problems to southern and southeastern markets, including some similar areas in Western California. If new home builders want to sell houses and clear inventory through discounts to meet quarterly reports and make their stocks look better, they discover that existing homes are gradually returning to the market in larger numbers. If existing homeowners are eager to sell and new home price cuts have become market consensus, their competitors, both existing and new homes, are cutting prices together. So for friends buying houses in these regions in the second half, if you like older houses with larger lots that are more comfortable to live in, you'll have more choices in existing homes. Bargaining will be more favorable for you. The other derivative problem is, if existing homes cut prices aggressively, what about new home builders who want to survive the second half off-season? They have to continue cutting prices and offering more discounts. Friends who like buying new homes also benefit. Don't be embarrassed to demand builder subsidies aggressively. You're helping builders clear inventory. Someone said they saw builder promotions even offering free round-trip tickets to Mexico for purchases before September. I think our judgment is that builders in these regions have already predicted that existing homes will join new price cuts and promotional sales in the second half, so they themselves need more creative and aggressive discounting. This includes California too. There's always been a voice about California real estate, bearish on California, saying California is finished, California is doomed, California will inevitably face comprehensive housing price crashes. For example, some people understand it this way. California has population outflow, climate isn't as good as before, including wildfires where many insurance companies won't renew policies. Insurance companies aren't playing anymore, so California real estate is inevitably unfavorable. California real estate will be finished sooner or later. This is one viewpoint. Why is California so controversial? I understand it's because people still think California has some advantages. If it were just a terrible, failing state that no one wants to live in or work in, people wouldn't discuss California's rights and wrongs so much. Based on this friend's comment, let me analyze California's population inflow and outflow. What kind of home buying demographic is flowing in? You can look at this cash purchase ratio statistics from Merit Homes, a top American brokerage showing nationwide cash buyer statistics. After 2022, with soaring interest rates, the proportion of cash buyers has gotten higher and higher, even doubling compared to previous years. This statistic is especially obvious in high-priced areas like the Northeast and West Coast. Particularly California, all cash house grabbing is very obvious. So you'll find this is a very helpless statistic. Indeed, many people left California for various reasons. But we also shared before that in the past 2 years, population has slowly started flowing back to California. Why are they returning? For settlement, work, retirement, we'll discuss this issue. Many of these returning friends are groups capable of all cash home purchases. So reality is harsh. Who in California is relatively eager to sell houses and clear out with price cuts? Those who bought during high housing prices and high interest rate periods and are still paying mortgages. But everyone knows how high current rates are, so mortgage payments are very difficult. So California's market we used to typically classify by coastal areas, inland areas, urban core areas. But now you can also divide into 3 categories based on all cash buyers, low-rate buyers, and high-rate buyers. You'll see an extremely divided California real estate market. Next, let's go through core city housing prices from East Coast to West Coast. U.S. median home price this month. $401,000, $395,000 last year. Northeast region. New York, $806,000, $771,000 last year. Boston, $794,000, $758,000 last year. Fairfield County, CT, $735,000, $713,000 last year. Worcester, $498,000, $473,000 last year. Philadelphia, $313,000, $306,000 last year. DC, $611,000, $595,000 last year. Montgomery County, MD, $673,000, $636,000 last year. Providence, Rhode Island, $533,000, $503,000 last year. Southeast Region Richmond, Virginia, $422,000, $412,000 last year. Virginia Beach, $394,000, $403,000 last year. Raleigh, North Carolina, $463,000, $446,000 last year. Charlotte, North Carolina, $520,000, $491,000 last year. Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, $347,000, $336,000 last year. Louisville, Kentucky, $294,000, $281,000 last year. Nashville, Tennessee, $478,000, $464,000 last year. Atlanta, $403,000, $415,000 last year. Florida Tampa, $383,000, $390,000 last year. Jacksonville, $376,000, $377,000 last year. Miami, $568,000, $561,000 last year. West Palm Beach, $490,000, $521,000 last year. Orlando, $411,000, $410,000 last year. Sarasota, $426,000, $450,000 last year. Fort Lauderdale, $470,000, $468,000 last year. Central Region Chicago, $388,000, $368,000 last year. Ann Arbor, $428,000, $425,000 last year. Oakland County, $387,000, $369,000 last year. Minneapolis, $402,000, $391,000 last year. Madison, $446,000, $427,000 last year. Cincinnati, $318,000, $295,000 last year. Columbus, $364,000, $353,000 last year. Texas Dallas, $430,000, $429,000 last year. Austin, $444,000, $456,000 last year. $347,000, $353,000 last year. San Antonio, $317,000, $318,000 last year. Western Region Seattle, $894,000, $903,000 last year. Snohomish County, $801,000, $776,000 last year. Portland, $572,000, $566,000 last year. Denver, $599,000, $596,000 last year. Phoenix, $458,000, $462,000 last year. Las Vegas, $450,000, $448,000 last year. Salt Lake City, $556,000, $550,000 last year. California, San Francisco, $1,577,000, $1,519,000 last year. San Jose, $1,675,000, $1,643,000 last year. Sacramento, $593,000, $605,000 last year. LA County, $940,000, $933,000 last year. Orange County, $1,226,000, $1,176,000 last year. Riverside, $615,000, $615,000 last year. San Bernardino, $555,000, $532,000 last year. San Diego, $915,000, $932,000 last year. Thank you for your likes and subscriptions. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss the next exciting share.